everybody, it's me, Shell360, and I think you can tell by the title what today's conversation is going to be about. It's going to be called When is it Hiatus and When is it Leaving? Because today, I guess maybe yesterday in Korea, young men from AB6 left the group, or the company decided it would make more sense for him to leave the group. And I've seen pretty much the opinion from most people is that this is a good idea for him to do because they're a young group and it's going to affect their popularity to have someone as their leader who got caught doing DUI. But something came to mind to me today, and when it came to mind, it really shook my world because I'm like, okay, I never had the same energy for this conversation before. How the hell did this never come up? Okay, so I did a video quite a while back in 2019 talking about the reasons why it makes sense why Wonho would decide he didn't want to be a part of Monster X anymore. And most of the time when people leave groups, they leave groups because they say, the things I'm doing, I don't want to hurt the group, so that's why I'm leaving. Right? Which I absolutely get. You know, if you have a brotherhood with these people, if you care about people and you feel like your presence is going to make it harder on everybody else, it's a very human and compassionate thing to do, to be like, I'll remove myself from the situation to keep from harming everybody else. However, I could think of at least one instance in time, a very important instance in time, where this was probably brought up to a member of a group and they said no, and the world is better for it. And I don't know why I never thought about this when we were having these conversations, but Jonghyun. When Jonghyun got caught in his dating scandal, SHINee was not a very old group. I think his dating scandal started in 2010 and they debuted in 2008, so they were a 2-year-old group. They had at that point Replay, Love Like Oxygen, Amigo, Ring Ding Dong, and Lucifer. Those were the 5 big hits that they had had. And so, I mean, they were a very well-known group, they were very successful, but Jonghyun was one of the first celebrity dating scandals in Korea in terms of like K-pop boys. And it was huge. It was massive. People were telling SM, get this guy out of here. We don't want him because K-pop idols are supposed to stay celibate forever so that I can marry them. And SM made the decision, instead of deciding to eliminate him from the group, they went ahead and they shipped them off to Japan. And they did a year in Japan and then came back to Korea. And the world is better for that. Like, there's no argument. You can't tell me it would have been a better idea for him to leave the group. Fuck you. Like, seriously, the world is a much better place by SM saying we are going to leave him in the group, send them to go somewhere for a cool out time, and then come back. Now, there is a big difference between what's going on with Young Men and what happened with Jonghyun. And sorry, my nose is itching for some reason. The big difference is Jonghyun didn't break a law. Young Men did. Jonghyun didn't put anybody else's life in danger. Drunk driving, you do put people's lives in danger. But I say all that to say, I don't know why it never came up in conversation before, because I feel like this would have been a fine argument as to why Wonho should have stayed in Monster X, because until the police have determined that he did break the law, he didn't break the law. It might have been something where the behavior looked a little foul, but he didn't break the law. Same thing with Taeyong from NCT. He was outed as an eBay scammer well before there was an official debut for the group. Like, when it was announced who all the members of NCT were, people were like, that guy promised me a photo card and took my money and never sent me a photo card. Like, it was already out there. But SM was like, yeah, well, he was a kid then, he's learned his lesson, he's never going to do it again. And still today, people bring up the fact that he might have been a bully when he was in high school and all this other stuff. SM still hasn't said he's out the group. So I'm not saying that SM knows how to do things. I would never say that, because God knows SM has some problems and has some big problems, and they need to address these big problems. But it does beg the question, at what point is it a fixable problem and what point is it a non-fixable problem? I feel like problems with the law are not fixable problems. And I think we can all agree on that. Like, if you get caught sexually assaulting somebody, if you get caught, if you get caught hurting somebody, assaulting somebody, just sexual harassment, tax evasion, I'm thinking of all these things. If you get caught breaking the law, I can see why a company would be within their rights to say, this is a big taint for the group. But if it's something where it doesn't break the law, but it just makes you look like a bad person, are you right for telling that person to leave? Trying to think of another instance. Well, Super Junior. Let's talk about Super Junior. Kangen left Super Junior on his own, I believe. I don't think that he was kicked out. I think he made the decision to leave. But he had been allowed to come back into Super Junior after having a DUI. Do I think that was right? I think myself and a few other people feel like no, because I don't feel like he is the person that I'm looking for when the new song comes out. You know, like I don't think he contributes enough vocally or dance wise to really be the make or break point with Super Junior, if you know what I mean. I don't even think he's one of the super popular members of Super Junior. Yet and still, it took a long time for them to get him out of the paint when it came to the group. And even now, I'm not exactly sure that he's officially out of the group. Like he might be kind of retired from the group. Seungmin got married. Now he's not officially out of the group, but he's not allowed to promote with the group. But he didn't break the law. Kangen, after getting caught doing DUI, got a chance to do a comeback with the group. Seungmin has never been allowed to do a comeback with the group. So it is a really hard question because it doesn't seem like these companies are consistent with the way that they treat these situations. You know, it doesn't make much sense to me that you would allow somebody who's committed a crime that could hurt people to promote with a group, but somebody who basically, you know, may have been a bad guy in terms of like being caught signing fans merchandise using him and his girlfriend's name or whatever, but didn't break the law, he can't promote. For Youngmin, if somebody like Kangen could be given chance after chance, but you on the other hand, this is your one DUI, you're not given a chance, it just, I don't know, man. I feel like that's a discussion that needs to be had. And I think that people need to be in agreement as to where the line is. Seungri leaving Big Bang. At the time that he left Big Bang, nothing had been finalized in terms of the Burning Sun stuff. I don't even think that charges had been leveled against him at that point. And still, to this day, sad enough, nothing has been determined in a court of law. Like, he's been charged, some charges have been dropped, I think some charges have been added. To this day, there has not been an actual disposition of that case. It has not been decided. It hasn't even been brought to court yet, honestly. But he's out the group. And I think a majority of people who are not just, you know, crazy insane in the paint VIPs agree this was a good move. Because the other four have lives and they should be allowed to live them without the taint of this person being over them 24/7. So, yeah, I would love to hear from you guys how you feel about this. And to relate instances where people were treated one way and somebody else was treated another. Because I think that, yes, it costs a lot of money for a company to have to redo a comeback. But I also wonder if maybe over there at... sorry, my nose is just itching the shit out of me. I'm wondering if over there at Brand New Music, if the reason why they put him out the group was not just because of this. Like, if there were other things. Because I sometimes wonder if it's other things internally that make up companies' minds about what they allow to have happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Youngmin was maybe an asshole while he was working with the company, or if maybe they could see that, like, this was just the first time he got caught, but he's been known to do this over and over again. And people know he's a habitual drunk driver. Like, if all of those factors could be going on behind the scenes and no one could know about them, you know? So if that's the case, then I could see why the company would be like, you got to get out of here. This is a prime no matter how much money it costs us, we got to get you the fuck up out of here because you are going to ruin things for us later down the road. So yeah, I just, questions that need answers. Also, I would like to see from Brand New, I know y'all think I'm on coke because I keep scratching my nose, but I just washed my face, and I think the soap that I used, my skin doesn't like, and it's causing me to itch. I would like to know how far in advance companies press their products. This is absolutely a tangent to the main point, but like for the company to say it is worth it for us to completely reprint this comeback rather than to just go ahead and release it and then retake and like redo the vocals or something, it makes you wonder like how far in advance do they put out all of this stuff? Because the DUI happened on May the 31st, and I think it made the news on the 2nd of June, and today is the 8th. So when they were pressing copies of this album, did they already have them pressed by the 31st and they're just destroying all of these copies? Or were they not pressed yet and they were going to be pressed over the weekend? I don't know. I'll call him back. But yeah, I have questions about that process. Like, how far in advance are these things made? Because I would like to see that. But yeah, do you think that it makes sense for them to get him out the group? I'll have to say I'm neutral on this. I think I've said it before. AB6 is a group that they just don't strike my fancy. Like, they do some good things, but not enough good things for me. Like, oh, I love this group so much. And so, with that being said, personally, I don't really think that I have the place to say whether or not he should have been put out of the group. I really don't feel like I have the space to say that. Yeah, I saw that Katie was tweeting a lot about how she's just devastated that he's out the group, and I get that. I totally do. I mean, losing somebody that you followed for a long time can be hard. It can be really hard. Like, I'm trying to think of a group that if somebody left the group, I'd be devastated. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not a super emotional person when it comes to that. Yeah, I'm not thinking of a single group where if somebody left the group, I'd be like, oh my gosh, my heart is broken. Except for in the case of death. I should caveat that for sure, because, I mean, you guys know me. Shallow 360. So, yeah, like, if I lost somebody to death, that would be devastating. But, like, if Kyungsoo left EXO, I don't think that would ruin EXO for me. Like, definitely, I would be even slower to buy their stuff than I already am, but it wouldn't ruin it for me. If Seulgi left Red Velvet, I don't know that would keep me from listening to Red Velvet, and I definitely don't think I would cry about it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm a very sensitive person in a lot of ways, but, like, I don't cry a lot about this K-pop stuff when it comes to that kind of thing. I think it's because I know, depending on who it is, they have other opportunities out there. Like, don't get it twisted. Kyungsoo doesn't need EXO by any stretch of the imagination. If he decides to leave EXO, he has got an entire movie and television career in front of him. He could release his own solo music. Like, he will be just fine. So, I mean, he's not really a great example. Seulgi, also, like, my nose, oh my gosh. If Seulgi leaves Red Velvet is experiencing the loss, honestly. Wendy's going to have to work way harder. Irene and Joy are going to have to work way harder to fill in her gaps. Because dancing-wise, she is a very important part of Red Velvet. But, like, if she left, I feel like there are things that she could do. I really feel like there's things that she could do. I feel like she definitely could go into solo singing, solo performance. I think there's room for her. The only thing that would be a problem is that she's a girl. So depending on the reason why she left Red Velvet, if it was a sex scandal, it would be very difficult for her to come back because Korea is very misogynistic, like most of the world. And so it would be very difficult for her to come back. If Hwasa left Mamamoo, I wouldn't be sad for Hwasa. I'd be sad for them. I'd be like, oh, damn, how are y'all going to come back after this? Because people love Hwasa. But in terms of, like, being sad for her, Hwasa could leave Mamamoo right now. Like, literally, she could put, like, I have decided after much prayer and consideration that I just need to be a bad bitch on my own. And I'd be like, well, I get it. I totally get it. In fact, I called that. So, yeah, I feel bad for Mamamoo, the rest of the members, because they would have to work extra hard in order to keep their group momentum. In fact, I would be like, okay, well, now y'all need to disband. Like, this is the sign that y'all just need to break the fuck up. But in terms of her, no, she's fine. She's fine. In fact, not even a week ago, me and Mason were talking about how much we would buy anything that Kwasa put out. We would buy a postage stamp. We would buy a single. We would buy practically anything. So like, there's no loss of income. There's no loss of opportunity for her. The doors are wide open. Everything is great. She does not need them. So I don't even think that would make me emotional. You know what? I know what would make me emotional. Only because I would feel a deep sense of betrayal if this happened. If Taemin left SHINee, I would be devastated. And I wouldn't be devastated because Taemin's my bias. My bias is Minho. If Minho left SHINee, I would have to assume it's because he felt like there was something in himself that wasn't good enough, and I'd be like, oh, okay, baby, well, I get it. Just, come up with a photo book every once in a while that I can buy. I love you. But if Taemin left SHINee, that would devastate me, only because I feel like SHINee raised Taemin, and I know how close they have been as friends, and I would have to wonder, like, what the fuck happened? How did this happen? Why is this happening? I would feel like the last 12 years for them as a group was a lie. And like, I've only known SHINee since 2012, but like 8 years, and all of a sudden you're gone? Not just a hiatus or anything, but just you're gone? What? Why? What the hell happened? So, like, yeah, I think that would devastate me. Like I said, if Minho left SHINee, I would have to believe that it was because he felt like he just couldn't add anything to SHINee. Like, that's his personality more than anything. Like, he's a very competitive person, and if he felt like he was dragging down the group and he couldn't fix himself, he would leave. Like, that's what I honestly think. If Key left SHINee, I would have to assume that Key found something better to do. And I'm not saying that to be mean to Key. I'm just saying, like, if Key left SHINee, he'd be like, I'm off this singing shit. I'm on to fashion, or I'm on to whatever else. Because Key is the type of person who, he's just got so many different interests, and there's so many things he wants to do. And so I could see if he wanted to do something else. Same thing with Onu. If Onu's like, I love performing, but my knees are old, and I can't do this anymore. Then I'd be like, okay, baby, I understand. But Taemin, like I said, that would be the one that would hurt, because these are the men that practically raised him in the entertainment business. They helped him develop his style, and it would just be like, why would you do this? Why would you do this to us? Big Bang without G-Dragon, at that point there would be no Big Bang really, because Big Bang was made for G-Dragon and Taeyang, honestly. Like, they were the only two members of Big Bang that everyone knew were going to be a part of Big Bang when Big Bang was being made. Because, like, Big Bang did a reality show, and, like, already, off the bat, everyone knew that Taeyang and G-Dragon were going to be in Big Bang. It was never a question. It was more like, who else is going to be in this fucking group? And then GG's like, oh, I know a guy named Top. He's got kind of a deep voice, but he's a little chunky. I'm like, okay, we'll take him on. Like, Big Bang belongs to G-Dragon. If we were to go, if we were to go to court and they're like, okay, we're all here to decide who owns the name for Big Bang. Can all the people in the room raise their hands and tell me why it is that you should own the name Big Bang? All GD has to do is raise his hand and be like, I was here first. I write the majority of the songs. My voice is featured on practically every song ever released. This is my group. And then the court would be like, it's yours. Thank you, Mr. Kwan. That'd be it. That would literally be it. There would be nothing else. I could live with Seungri being gone, because what did he really contribute to the group? Vocally, like, really? What did he really do that can't be redone by somebody else, really? I could even probably take Taeyang and Daesung leaving the group. Because if it's one or the other, I think both of them are vocally accomplished enough to pick up the slack. If Top left the group, I don't think that it would hurt the group all that much. I mean, I would miss his voice, absolutely. I don't think that anybody could redo Top in that group. But I also feel like the other members of the group are competent enough that they could definitely release songs that he's not needed in. You know what I'm saying? But G-Dragon is Big Bang. You know, I hate to say it like that. It makes it sound like he's my bias, and he's totally not. For years, my bias was Top. And then it became Taeyong because I saw I Need a Girl and it was just like, it's a wrap. But yeah, like I totally... Actually, you know what? I don't even think I have a bias in Big Bang anymore. It's been so long. So, yeah. Well, like 2NE1 and Blackpink. If CL had left 2NE1 when 2NE1 was a huge group, that group would be over. Because that group was created for CL. Let's all be very honest about that. There are certain groups where the groups were created for the people. For instance, Hyuna and 4 Minute. I honestly believe that the reason why 4 Minute disbanded had nothing to do with the fact that the sales for their last song weren't all that great. I think it had everything to do with the fact that Hyuna said, I'm tired of carrying these bitches on my back. I don't want to share my paycheck with anybody anymore. And Cube said, you right, let's go on ahead and give you your solo career full time. Now they fucked it up by, you know, throwing a fit and releasing the wrong press release when her and Edon got caught dating. However, that is a group that was made for Hyuna. So if anybody but Hyuna left the group, who cares? Same thing with 2NE1. Like, don't get me wrong, Park Bom became instrumental in the sound of that group. Like, yes, CL is who the group was made for, but Park Bom, she gave that group its sound. And if you notice the recordings, as they got more and more towards the end of that group's life, CL and Minzy both changed the way that they sung to sound more like Park Bom. Part of it was, I think, that they were trying to sound more like Park Bom so that her sound could be included on recordings when her voice wasn't necessarily strong enough to do some of the parts that they wanted her to do. But also, I think it's because, again, her sound is so very special and so associated with the group that it made sense for them to want to sound like her because she sounded so special. And so CL leaving 2NE1 would have devastated that group. Park Bom leaving 2NE1 would have been a huge blow. But towards the end of their run, Minzy and CL were kind of getting ready to take over her spot on stage. Same thing with G-Idol. If they lose Sohyun, it's over because she basically decides what that group sounds like. She is, if you watched Queendom, which I know a lot of you didn't, but if you had the opportunity to watch Queendom and not just the performances, she runs the girls. Like, she walks in and says, hey bitches, I got a new idea. We're going to be doing ethno, Afro, Eurasian pop with a little bit of Brazilian kickboxing. Are you guys ready? We're gonna do this. And they're just like, can I have the deep voice section? Yes, great input. I'm glad that's a collaboration here. Okay, I'll write that up for you. See you guys in 15 minutes. I'll have the entire demo recorded and ready for you guys to put your voices on top of. Okay, got it. You know, like, that literally is her. So yeah, that group would fall apart without her. Blackpink, Jisoo's expendable in Blackpink. Absolutely. Rose is kind of expendable, not to be mean, only because even though she has the most unique singing voice in the group, I don't necessarily think that people listen to Blackpink because of her great vocals. I think they listen to Blackpink for a vibe, and I think they could still have that vibe even without Rose. Also, when it comes to that group, I don't feel like Jennie is integral to that group. Like, she has a lot of fans. But at the same time, I don't feel like Blackpink couldn't live without Jennie if they had to. But Lisa, I think, breaks Blackpink's back for me. And let me explain why. Lisa is the person in Blackpink that most international fans relate to, or more international fans relate to. And that's part of the reason why she's so important, especially like the Thai and Chinese delegate. They absolutely are checking for Lisa. Lisa is the international fave. You know, a lot of people like Jennie. She's cute, but people are looking for Lisa for looks. Like, when they have comebacks, people are like, what is Lisa's hair gonna look like this time? I know she's gonna be blonde, but are we going for a long bob? Are we going for shorter? Are we going to pull it back? How are we doing our bangs this time? Are they gonna be below the eyebrows or above the eyebrows? Tell us what we're doing. Looks. So yeah, Lisa being out of there, YG doesn't. I don't know if YG knows this because they sure do act like they don't fucking know. I don't know if YG knows this, but Lisa is one of the most important parts on your label right now. Not just in Blackpink, but on your fucking label. And for y'all to allow a manager to steal $1 million from that girl, you need to get your shit together. Because the minute Lisa decides she doesn't want to be a part of YG anymore and she does her expose on all the shit that happened with YG, the rest of the fans internationally are coming for that ass. Absolutely. People already have a bad taste in their mouth about YG. YG is given a second life through Blackpink. Blackpink is really what's carrying that label right now. And if y'all continue to do wrong by Lisa, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. You got to understand that. Lisa brings so much more to the table than y'all could even fathom. If you were to do things the right way by her, she literally could save your company. Who will break with BTS if he leaves? Who? I hate to answer this question because every time I say anything about them, people are like, oh my gosh, you're such a shithead, I hate you, whatever. I don't think that BTS could exist without RM and Suga. Straight up. Vocal wise, I think if Jimin left, it would make a lot of fans leave because he is the one that more people are attracted to. He definitely is the visual marker for that group, even though they've got a lot of good looking boys in that group. Don't get me wrong. They got a lot of good looking boys in that group. But like his vocal is a sound that no one else in the group has. Oh man, I'm gonna call back. His sound is a vocal that a lot of people in that group don't have. So it would be very hard if he left just because I can't think of anybody who could take his place vocally. Jungkook, if Jungkook left, it'd be really tough if he left the group, only because like he connects a certain age group of the fan base to BTS, so that would be really tough too. And also he plays the mids, so he's got a range that can go down here and up here, so he kind of plays the middle a lot, a really strong middle. So that would be really tough if he was to leave, just because there would be a hole in the sound and Jin would have to work a lot harder to help out with that. If Taeyang left, he definitely is the bottom part of their vocal line range. But at the same time, if he said he left because he wanted to do movies, television, all that kind of stuff, I think the fan base wouldn't be mad. I mean, they would be mad, but I don't think they'd be mad as if like, oh, you kicked him out, whatever else. If he said, you know, my voice, y'all have had me scream too much, I can't do it anymore, so I'm going to go do acting, I think people would kind of understand. Jin, I don't necessarily think that they would lose a lot if Jin couldn't record for the group anymore. When he goes to the military, I think they could still do a very successful comeback without him. But RM and Suga, they do so much writing and so much production work that in and of itself would really change the vibe of the group. A lot of the songs that the group comes out with that are very socially focused are a product of those two people. That tends to be kind of their wheelhouse. And so a lot of the kind of social commentary, universality of a lot of their messages that don't have to do with like love and relationships, that's where it comes from. That would be lost. And I think that would be a problem for them going forward. So that's why I say it would be a problem for them. And I don't feel like RM or Suga would leave the group just to be leaving. I think something devastating would have to happen for them to even come to that conclusion. Like for them to even be like, I'm out of here. It would have to be like, I was involved in something that physically limits me from being able to be in this group. Or it would have to be like something happened in my personal life that has got me to where I don't want to be seen by anybody or anyone. Oh shit, they're calling me from work. Anyway, I'll talk with you guys later. Bye!